Ladies and gentlemen, theys and gamers, welcome to Creme de la Creative, the podcast that celebrates remarkable content creators and their communities. My name's Grant Alexander. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Jake Lane. Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well today. How are you doing today?
I'm very well today. Now, I say today because we tried this yesterday, didn't we?
We did. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Long story short, we got 8 episodes in. We got 15 minutes into recording episode 9, and Jake, you were convinced that your headphones were crackling.
Yeah, I thought it was my end.
No, turns out it was the cable on my microphone, which is now being replaced. So if I sound a little bit different, maybe a little bit worse, that is because I'm on a temporary headset. So apologies to the audience for the drop in quality. Jake, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can. If we get to the point where when you're doing the editing, it's not right, you could always just dub over James Earl Jones.
We've had worse ideas. So what's going on with you this week? I know we've been through all this, but for the benefit of the audience.
For the benefit of the tape, I've forgotten. Genuinely. No, I haven't, actually.
Wow. Wild 24 hours that Jake's had.
Yeah.
Just blacked out. Anyway, sorry, how's your week been?
Week's been good, man, yeah. Just kind of standard, really. We've had the news of potential lockdown restrictions that may lift, and whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But you know, if we can do things, it generally means it's because less people are getting unwell, and that is the most important bit for me. So yeah, how's your week been anyway, aside of the fiasco?
Well, the fiasco is the latest in a long list of technological failures in my week. Our Nintendo Switch died. Hopefully the replacement battery that I've ordered for my Switch will repair the issue. If not, I'm going to have to send it away. And mid-lockdown and mid-Stardew Valley playthrough, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. But, you know, we live and learn.
Yeah, a bit of a kick in the teeth there.
Anyway, should we get on with some honourable mentions?
We shall.
Would you like me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first. You go first.
All right. So obviously we're both talking about illustrators this week because we both rolled a 2, I believe it was, week before last. We had a lovely guest on last week, which meant that our rolls rolled over, stealing your pun from the last episode. And yeah, so we're talking all about illustrators and artists this week. So my first honourable mention is an artist called Ashley Anderson. She's LA-based artist creating detailed pet and wildlife portraits. She works mainly in pastels, and I discovered her work because she is the significant other of one Dan Avidan of Game Grumps. And she does the most realistic pet portraits and dog portraits in particular that I've ever seen. And I'm going to send you a link to her Instagram so you can react.
Sweet.
I'll be sending you a lot of links this episode because this is a visual medium. And for the benefit of the listeners, we'll be putting out some Instagram posts showcasing people's work because I think it's important to be sharing.
Oh, awesome.
She's absolutely fantastic. Really, really impressed with all the work that she puts out. She does pins and like full pastel portraits. So yeah, that's honourable mention number 1. Go and check her out, Ashley Anderson.
Awesome stuff.
I also have a second honourable mention, which I put together today. It wasn't going to be in the episode, but since we had to re-record, I thought I'd throw another one in there for the benefit of the audience. It's a couple called Yehuda and Devir. They're a married couple from Israel, and they're comic book artists and the creators of a popular webcomic called One of Those Days, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you will have seen, but you probably don't know who it was by. So I'm going to send you this as well. They do comic book style illustrations about just like daily life and like life raising a kid and being a couple and all of the kind of stuff that you get involved in.
Yeah.
Have you seen these before?
Yeah, I have. I have sent one of those posts with a multitude of pictures on it that is just like, relatable. I've definitely sent that to like Alana before.
Yeah, exactly. And I absolutely love their art style. They're so talented and they capture so much emotion in their like little vignettes of family life. And they've actually done a collaboration with DeviantArt and Wacom, who develop the graphics tablets, to do a one-off web series about being an artist. And the trailer they put on their Instagram, it looks fantastic. So we'll be dropping a link to that as well. So yeah, second honourable mention is Devir Studios, Yehuda and Maya. and their little daughter, who are just super talented and super cute, and I love their work. Jake, have you got some honourable mentions for us?
I do. Now, full disclosure, you're going to hear what I said yesterday again.
I am, but I'm going to react as if I hadn't. I'm going to put my BTEC drama skills to use.
To be fair, this is more for the benefit of the listeners than yourself. That in terms of my exposure and, I guess, appreciation of art and illustration in particular, it's not something that I have actively followed consciously, clearly, based on the conversation we've literally just had. It's one of those things where I just think it's more of a subconscious appreciation than a conscious.
You don't actively seek it out.
Yeah,
that's cool. But that's what this pod's for. It's for expanding our own horizons and discovering new things and reminding ourselves of old things. Absolutely.
And I think one of the things, as you say, reminding us of old things, and it kind of led me to my honourable mentions this week, because I think one of the things that we have as children and some of our earliest interactions with things cognitively are images. We already spoke about animation, didn't we, on our animation special? Go check that out, Antics the LA Animation, episode 003.
Nice plug.
That took me back to thinking about images I had seen as a child, images I regularly engaged with. I was a massive Beano fan as a kid.
Yes.
Beano and The Dandy. You can generally tell an artist's style and it resonates with you and it sticks with you. And you can, especially if you've seen it a lot and you are quite aware of it, you almost instantly recognise it. My first honourable mention is Nigel Parkinson. He's the chap that drew Dennis the Menace and the Bash Street Kids for a number of years.
That's when we were kids, isn't it?
When we were kids, yeah. And that's why if I see his image of Dennis the Menace, that to me is Dennis the Menace.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That artist's style, whatever you're accustomed to, it becomes what you identify with and what you your image of that person or that character.
But that's really cool that you can have different artists bring their own take to the same property and have it affect generations differently. And we talked about how the different Star Wars trilogies resonate with different generations, and I think it's the same thing. It's the iteration that you grow up with is the one that's kind of your headcanon. So yeah, it's awesome that you brought that to the table. I've totally forgotten about the Beano and Dandy.
I don't think they even make the Dandy anymore.
No,
sadly.
I don't think they do.
So yeah, Nigel Parkinson's my first honourable mention.
Awesome.
The second one, again, thinking back to my childhood, you don't have to act surprised because you know what's coming. But for the benefit of the listeners, you picked this up first thing when I said it yesterday.
I did, yeah.
If you were to see an image that this person had drawn, then you would immediately know what book it's from or what author wrote that book. If you were to hear this author's name, you would immediately picture an image this artist has drawn. And my second honourable mention is Quentin Blake, with his iconic images that define, in my opinion, some of the works of Roald Dahl. You don't get the Roald Dahl books without the Quentin Blake illustrations. It's
the definition of an iconic children's illustrator.
When you think about the amount of books that were written, things like, the Twits, I've got Mrs. Twit in my head now, horrendous image, but
yeah, BFG, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, they were all illustrated by Quentin Blake.
And I don't know about you, but when you mentioned BFG, Matilda and James and the Giant Peach, all of those are also films. But when you say those book titles, I think of the book and the image that Quentin Blake created. Because that was what was so, again, from a young age, it was defined by the two kind of going hand in hand.
As a kid, before you can read the book, when you have it read to you, your way of identifying the book so you can pick it up to have it read to you is the pictures. And it's like that first visual language and that first style is something that imprints so deeply in your brain.
For me, it was a little nostalgic journey thinking about how illustration has impacted my life in a way I didn't actually realise. Perhaps I say perhaps, I pledge I shall spend more time appreciating people's artistic styles because, as you said, we started this also to broaden our own horizons. So, this is something that I haven't spent a lot of time looking into. So.
No, that's great. Would you like to kick off with your creator for the week?
I shall. This week's featured creator is somebody that I actually know.
Wow, okay.
And I say on a level, it was kind of low-key, didn't realise just how talented she was.
Well, that's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know her incredibly well, which is part of kind of like the inner circle, really. So actually the fiance of one of my friends. She is obviously an illustrator, does acrylic paintings as well as sketches, and is fantastically talented. This week's creator is Jenni Thatcher, and I'm just going to send you her Instagram page.
I was just about
now.
to Google it.
So she does a range of things that she's got on her page, obviously different paintings, sketches, and she hasn't posted an abundance of things on there.
Oh, damn.
I think from what I've kind of gathered, she's kind of been doing commissions and stuff like that. I know, I can remember someone posted in our group chat, sort of saying, "Oh, could Jenny draw these superheroes for us? I've kind of drawn out a little scene, and it's like a load of Marvel characters. These Avengers were just like sketched out in biro by someone. It was like a gift for a nephew or something like that."
Nice. That's really sweet.
As you can see, a very talented artist. Some of her portraits of animals and stuff I thought were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm watching the time lapse of the lion now. It's incredible. I love fine line detail work. It's really impressive.
I knew she drew, and I say I've posted it in the WhatsApp. I was like, "Oh, this is Jenny's latest drawing." It's like, okay, well, I know who my illustrator is going to be then for when we make this episode.
Hands down, no, it's a really good find.
Deserves more appreciation, I think. Yeah, so I would say absolutely please go and check out her page, Artistic Jen on Instagram. And as she does do commissions, and I've already got an idea of something I'm going to ask if she can do for a gift for somebody.
Amazing.
In the future. I mean, it's my birthday next month, so I'm going to get myself something.
Oh, it is your birthday next month. Write that down.
But no, yeah, it's the sort of thing I think that's just awesome. And I think we don't appreciate enough that whenever it comes to buying gifts, we can be very quick to go to expensive things. But I think utilising the skills of the artists and illustrators that are out there, to get perhaps one of your favourite portraits or one of your favourite images or a picture of a family pet or something like that. I think that's such a meaningful, heartfelt gift.
Oh, 100%.
To get that done for someone, it's certainly nothing I could ever do. So
yeah, I mean we were talking about that last week with Mark when we had our first guest on, talking about kind of learned skills, and you were saying how you don't understand photography, and I was saying, well, actually, I understand photography, but I could not draw a picture. I can't illustrate. That just I can't translate from my brain to my hand to make it look like it looks in my head. But I think it's one of those things that is a learned skill, and to see the talent and the commitment that has gone into art like Jenny's produced is just fantastic.
You're talking to the guy that had the conversation with our art teacher, aptly named Mr. Rainbow.
I fucking love Mr. Rainbow. What a hero.
Who asked, "You're not planning on taking GCSE art, are you?"
Oh, man.
No, I'm not. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't think so. That's probably for the best."
You know what? The reverse experience that I had with Mr. Rainbow was that he taught me how to use my first DSLR camera.
Yeah, I forget. He was massive into his photography, wasn't he?
So into his photography. He helped me buy my first camera secondhand and really get into it. So conversely, I owe him a huge amount to my career trajectory. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Rainbow. Hope you're well, my friend.
Oh yeah, what a guy, Joe Rainbow. I used to pop in from time to time before getting kicked out on my way to the food tech room.
Oh, is that when we were watching Mighty Boosh when we were studying surrealism?
Yes. Creep in and then get noticed at the fact that, strangely enough, the black dude with the giant afro, who was the only kid in school with a giant afro, was not inconspicuous at hiding in the back of the classroom.
Yeah, you're quite loud if I remember rightly as well.
I reckon that had more to do with me not taking art than my lack of artistic ability.
Probably.
So, Grant, who have you brought to the easel this week?
This week, I have brought someone a little bit, I want to say more well-known, definitely more mainstream, but it's an artist that I didn't realise was as well-known and accomplished professionally as I thought they were. They have an IMDb list. They're an animator and illustrator. My creator this week is a chap called Brian Kesinger. He is an award-winning storyboard artist, illustrator and author, which I didn't know. He's had a 20-plus year career at Disney, spanning both hand-drawn and CG animated films, going all the way back to Tarzan, and as something as recently as Frozen 2. I'm going to read you some things off of his list because they literally are some of my favourite Disney films. So we've got, starting with Tarzan, fantastic film. Atlantis, Lost Empire, fantastic film.
Underrated film.
You're damn right. Treasure Planet, underrated masterpiece. Then we've got Big Hero 6, Zootropolis, Ralph Breaks the Internet. He's been a writer on some of the Disney shorts that are now on Disney+. Just incredibly talented guy. I've sent you his link to the Instagram. I'm also going to send you this, which is this is the first image that I ever saw of his. It made me die laughing. I'm so happy that it exists. And I'm very tempted to get it as a tattoo or commission him to do a tattoo because he does do that for people. So for the benefit of the listeners, because this is an audio medium, and we will post it on our Instagram and whatnot.
I'll just hold it up to the mic so you can see.
Thank you. That's really clarified things. Really helpful. This is a illustration of K2SO from Rogue One, the droid, voiced by Alan Tudyk, and he is holding two dinosaurs saying, "Curse this sudden but inevitable mashup," which is a line from Alan Tudyk in Firefly. And this is not only a fantastic illustration, but of my two favourite science fiction properties. And I am, like I said, very, very tempted. It's been at the top of my I will get this tattooed on myself one day list for a good couple of years now. And he also does, if you scroll through his Instagram, you'll also see that he does amazing commissions for cartoon, Star Wars, Disney. In addition to his work doing film, he's also become a celebrated author and illustrator of his own books that showcase his style in kind of his original way rather than working for the mouse. For example, he's got a character called Jasper J. Pumpkinhead, and he's in the process of developing that illustrated character and storybook into an animated series of shorts, and it's the fantastic contraptions of Jasper J. Pumpkinhead, and the first one is called The Amazing and Stupendous Better Than Batwing's Halocropter, which is bonkers. I really love his art style. It's such a diverse art style as well. He doesn't just stick to one style. I am positive that I will be getting, if I ever get a tattoo, it will be in his style. So I had to include him this week because he's so talented. Absolutely love it.
Something else we've not mentioned, and I'm just going to sort of touch upon it now. You've briefly mentioned it, and it's not anything either of us has mentioned at any great detail. It's like tattoo artists.
Oh, yeah.
And I was talking to some of the guys at work, and they were saying that there's some fantastic tattoo artists like that they know of in Wales and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to put tattoo artist in the dice roll rotation.
Okay, great shout.
So we have to talk about it.
Yeah, it kind of is. I feel like it's a natural progression on, because, as I say, I didn't take art, and I remember speaking to Mr. Rainbow about it, and he kind of almost poked fun at the subject himself and said, if you go and get an art degree, you're statistically likely to earn less money than if you'd ever bothered and just not done any degree.
Yeah.
And I think, well, that's other than if you make it big as an illustrator, whether you make it big as in animation.
It's the same as any art form as well. You do a degree in music or like performing arts. You're putting yourself out there for. There's a lot you can learn outside of traditional education.
Yeah, that's the thing. We just get so siloed into what we should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But I just think, tattoo artistry is another medium that people can go into, and you can kind of build a career out of that almost from nothing. And again, just to kind of circle back to last week. Oh God, I said circle back. I'm that guy. Just to revisit last week when we talk about Mark. Now having the digital platforms, you can turn a hobby into a career by using those digital platforms,
Yeah.
There will be doubtless countless illustrators who drew for the love of it, and we're in a position eventually I could go, do you know what, I've been getting so many commissions, this 9 to 5 that I've got is a pain in my ass. I don't need that. I'm working for good till. I can go out and just do my thing. I can do me. I can sell my art, and I'm making good money doing it.
Yeah, more power to you.
That's the dream, and you'd love to be able to turn something that you love doing into a position where I'm not saying that it just happens overnight.
No,
far from
it's
it.
a lot of hard work. And as long as it doesn't kill the passion that you have for it, because that's the one concern I would have. If you can make a living out of doing what you love and sustain that enthusiasm and that passion for the craft, then yeah, absolutely, that's the goal.
It's weeks like these that make me kind of really, really glad that we did do this, because again, similar to the animation episode, it opened up my mind to things that I hadn't been thinking about very much.
Oh, that's great.
And on a level that I realised, actually, let's rephrase it, I hadn't consciously been thinking about how that sort of thing impacts me or my own personal relationship with that form of art. And I've actually had to engage with that. And now that's made me think, it's had a bigger impact in my life than I had.
Yeah.
So,
well, one day you might get me watching sport and I'll have a similar revelation.
Yeah.
I believe it is time for the charity shout-out. Jake, have you got a charity for us this week?
No, I forgot.
You forgot?
No, I'm just joking. Of course I have a charity for it.
Ooh. You are on very thin ice, sir.
This week's charitable shout-out is something that is close to me personally, both physically and close to my heart, in terms of something I am still actively involved in. So this week's charity is Bristol Rovers Community Trust. So it's the charitable arm of Bristol Rovers Football Club, and it runs and supports a number of projects across Bristol. They have been providing free holiday camps to children of key workers, as well as supporting meals for free school meals children. Of course, this is all in line with COVID regulations at that time.
Yeah.
Early lockdown, they were involved working with Bristol Food Bank to provide food to vulnerable and shielding people. And that was actually spearheaded by Adam Tutton, the chief executive, who himself was out daily just delivering food packages during lockdown 1.0. That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
A project I want to draw particular attention to that is ongoing is what they call Tackling Loneliness. And it's a project that's being funded by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. They raised funds and provided funds to the EFL, the English Football League Trust. Now, the EFL Trust basically work with all of the different football clubs who, I think part of being in the Football League, you have to have a community trust that does all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, you do.
It has to be a registered charity and all that.
Yeah, I actually did some work with the Bath City Youth Football Trust.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, in university, we did their rebranding and their website, and we worked with the summer school programs. Actually, one of their big patrons is film director Ken Loach, who I got to meet and interview, which was
awesome.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, that is exactly that sort of thing. So I think it's really, really important, not just, as I say, from a sports fan point of view, but the stuff that they're doing in the community is phenomenal. And as I say, the Tackling Loneliness programme, funded by essentially the government via the EFL Trust, and it's all about engaging with elderly community members. And that can be via telephone, via a personal visit on the doorstep, delivering food or anything like that. And it's basically about contacting as many people as possible over a week.
Brilliant.
Bristol Rovers women's team are currently getting involved with that too. So some of the girls that are either like sort of on furlough or work in industries that are currently closed have been given up their time to come out and get involved with this, make phone calls, go and visit people, and just really make sure that these people aren't isolated through this difficult time.
Brilliant. I think it's time to roll the Dice of Destiny, which we didn't get to do last week.
Yeah, we didn't. It's like we had a break. Maybe it's forgotten that I can't score higher than a 3.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that I've actually picked a different 6-sided dice this week, because I have several sets. So for the benefit of the listeners, we roll the Dice of Destiny each week, which is a 6-sided dice that I play D&D with, that helps us to decide what kind of creator we bring to the table. Historically, Jake has been rolling 3s and 4s. Hopefully we can break this cycle. Would you like me to go through what the categories are this week?
Yes, please. We have a new addition.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. So if I roll a 1, we'll have to bring a musician. Number 2 is a YouTuber. Number 3 is a fellow podcast. 4 is a writer, so can be author or journalist. Number 5 is a tattoo artist, a new addition to the rotation this week. And number 6, as always, is a wild card, so you can choose whatever you like. Jake, do you accept these terms?
I do.
Wonderful. I'm going to roll the dice for you. Different dice, same outcome. You have a 3.
Oh.
Which means you have to bring a podcast to the table, which could be
I've
fun.
not done a podcast, actually. I have, actually. I did the first episode. It was
Yeah,
podcast.
you did, but not prompted by the dice.
That is true. That's cool. I do have several podcasts in the locker, so that's
Excellent.
all cool.
Great stuff.
Can I just say, we are never going to the casino together, and we are never ever playing craps together, because
Absolutely
I would
not.
come out with no money whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, don't know how to play craps and have never been to a casino. But
Me neither.
It's definitely off the table now, so.
Yeah. I'm going to now roll the dice for myself. I have rolled a 6, which means for the third time in 9 episodes, I get to bring a wild card to the table, which is anything at all. The last few times I've done this, I brought someone who is multimedia spanning, so I will have to try and live up to that. Let's have a think. Something to ponder for the next few days, and then panic research the day before.
Panic research the day before.
Anyway, this has been really good fun. I've really enjoyed this episode. I think we've learnt a lot. We've grown as consumers of content.
Yeah.
I think we've both brought to the table some really interesting and really talented creators. So do give everyone a follow as well as us. Leave a like if that's something you can do on the platform you are consuming this content on. Or give us a follow, give us a review, keep all those good algorithms happy. And we shall see all of you lovely people next week. Stay safe, everyone. Jake, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Look after yourselves and people around you. And smile.
That was really cute.
We live in a society.
Oh, and you ruined it. I'm leaving that in. Creme de la Creator is produced by Grant Alexander and Jake Lane. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at CDLC Podcast, or email us at cdlcpodcast@gmail.com with your suggestions for creators you think we should feature in future episodes.
Stay safe and look after yourselves during lockdown. If you need to talk to someone, please reach out using one of the links provided in the episode description. See you next week.